How y'all doing, everybody? I'm Matt Dinerman, track announcer here at Oaklawn Park. Out of the starting gate with Matt Dinerman, episode 3. And we are joined this week, very happy to have Megan Burgess here on the set. Megan, an analyst for Fox Sports' America's Day at the Races. Megan, I got to ask you, this is your first time at Oaklawn.
Yep.
If you go wherever you go and somebody says, what is Oaklawn like? What would you tell them?
Well, I am an analyst and reporter for Fox, and now, New York is my home base, but I'm from Texas, and I'm from the South. I was raised in the South, and that's the kind of hospitality and energy I find at Oaklawn. It's the Southern hospitality. It's very much what I'm used to growing up. And it's kind of like, it's the Southern Saratoga, I would say. I've spent a lot of time in Saratoga. I love Saratoga. And everybody knows the races. Everybody follows the races. They're very kind to the horsemen. And that's exactly the type of energy that I found here at Oaklawn. Everybody's been so kind. The staff here at Oaklawn has been amazing, have always taken care of all of us at Fox. So yeah, I'm just really grateful. It's been a real privilege to be able to be sent down here, and I've loved it. And I can't wait to obviously continue. I'll be here through Rebel Weekend. Me and Richie Migliori will be kind of splitting the meat. And yeah, I have the best team around. So I'm having a lot of fun.
You can watch her on Fox Sports on America's Day at the Races, and also you started out with Saratoga Live during the summertime. Mm-hmm. So we're really happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
We're going to put you to work. So
yes.
I know you're ready to get to it, so we're going to get right to the action here. We got all the usual stuff. We're going to talk about stakes recaps. We've got a number of rising stars for you. We're going to go over the upcoming stakes this week, including our feature, the Smarty Jones, which we're going to go over pretty much every horse there. Then I'll give you a clocker pick of the week to end things. But we're going to get right to the action here, Megan. Let's put you to work. We start with our stakes recaps, and we saw the Pippin Stakes on Friday afternoon. Standout Sensation received an 85 buyer. Here's the replay for that win. Megan, I noted that, I don't know if she'll win the Apple Blossom, but this was a nice effort, and she's definitely going in the right direction with 4 wins in a row.
I mean, 4 wins in a row. Just looking at her physically in New York, she has really kept herself well. And I feel like sometimes when you have these fillies that are traveling, she's one that always likes to get kind of revved up in the paddock. She always gets the tack on the walk. She's kind of one of those higher energy fillies, and it's just really nice to see her confidence be built up, which is something Tommy Amos has referred to. Just her being able to collect these wins and build that confidence is really being shown in her races. And, it was disappointing. Corningstone didn't exactly run her best effort there. I think she was a bit short as far as the works were concerned. But she's also just such a hard-knocking Indiana bred. Who doesn't love a horse like her who always tries? But Standout Sensation, I think, will be one of the more competitive fillies coming into some of those bigger races at Oaklawn. She's taken to the surface beautifully, which I love to see horses do. She's traveled so well. And I think she's one that could go under the radar with some of the bigger names, the Nitrogens, the Lucaras. She's done nothing wrong as of late.
We talk about fillies and mares, especially when they get confident, they get good. And Standout Sensation going in the right direction. Wouldn't be a surprise at all to see her in the next stake, in a graded stake.
Yeah, absolutely. She deserves it.
The Saturday feature, the Year's End Stakes, our big 2-year-old day, which we call here at Oaklawn Future Champions Day. And we saw Counting Stars. Not only did she wheel back in 13 days and get a stakes win, but she also became the first 2-time stakes winner of the meeting here, winning first-time routing in this Year's End Stakes. This was awfully impressive, Megan.
It was so impressive. It's a filly that I think they've always been fond of. I believe she was the workmate of Ewing there for a moment. So they always thought highly of her, and now Counting Stars won that. She's kind of matched up some of the promise that she showed early. And yeah, I think she's a filly that wanted to stretch. She's a bigger filly. As assistant Caden Arthur had said, she'd been really ready to go in the mornings. She was sharp going to the track. She just had her mind on business, and she looked great. The 13 days wasn't an issue. Physically, it didn't take anything out of her, and she has just really put away these fields. I'm really excited to see her next steps. We don't quite know where she might go, but the sky's the limit, and if she can continue progressing forward as far as the distance is concerned, I wouldn't be surprised if we see her in one of these Oaks preps further down the line.
She's definitely on the Oaks trail. A Daughter of Honor AP purchased for $150,000 $250,000 as a 2-year-old in training. I think for a yearling she costs $13,000. Nonetheless, it's a bargain at this point.
Absolutely.
And obviously Counting Stars is one that you want to keep an eye on. Finally, on Sunday, our feature stake was the Oaklawn Anywhere, which is an overnight stake. I think we have about 16 of them throughout the meeting, not only the holiday meet, but the classic meeting. And we saw Foie Gras get the job done. Again, this is for runners that have yet to win a sweepstakes. So this, in a way, was almost like a glorified allowance, but the way she won, and she beat some real nice runners that have done well against Allowance Company, she's going in the right direction. First start for the Mike Maker barn.
Yeah, they picked her up at a digital sale, and she's one that was kind of under the radar. She just was a completely different filly than what I've seen from her in her Kentucky races thus far. Ricardo Santana got them out and just said she was very professional, settled nicely, was one that, you know, the story of the race was the speed of Moto and then the outside runner Anna Karina. And this filly was able to just kind of sit. The speed didn't kind of play out exactly how we might have thought that it would have, as races obviously tend to do. But she was one that just really put forth a strong run. I know she was kind of going back and forth with an entry mate and going steady, and she just shook that field off. She looked fantastic. I'm not sure what the next step would be with her, but it was pretty cool. It was the owner's first horse as well that they picked up out of that digital sale. So it was a great story. Everybody was incredibly happy, and she really has been kind of a bridesmaid type horse, and she really broke through and ran very well this weekend.
And sort of like standout sensation, sometimes all these fillies and mares needs is a little confidence
Yeah,
boost, and then they turn the
I mean,
page.
especially when fillies want to run, they're great. When they can kind of be temperamental, you know,
Sure.
they can, fillies can be a little bit more nuanced as far as maybe some of their stronger form, but I mean, she really looked fantastic. One that I was really impressed by, and you got a price on her that day too, for sure.
Absolutely. Foie Gras, one of the 3 stakes winners this past weekend. We'll go over upcoming stakes this week in a little bit, but first we want to get to Rising Stars, one of my favorite segments. You're going to get down and into the analysis with this, Megan. We've got quite a few of them, which is always a good thing. If we have a few Rising Stars from the past week, that means we had good quality racing.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about 5 Rising Stars. We're going to go to Friday first. I think the talk of the town going into that race, and then after the race even, more so, was Speed King in this higher level allowance race here. Let's take a look at the replay. Gets back to the winner's circle. He won the Southwest last year going 2 turns. His form went real south, but now he's back not only at Oaklawn, but back to winning form. This was very impressive.
It was incredibly impressive. And Ron Moquette had said that they had given this horse the time and the space that he needed. And he hasn't really been able to employ that early speed, right? He's a horse that I think really likes to be more forwardly placed, doesn't necessarily take to the kickback, doesn't like to be shuffled and covered up. He's one that I think once he gets more forward, once he's able to use his namesake and get to the front end and be able to show a little bit more speed, I think that's his niche. And I also don't think that he wants to go all day long. I like him being able to cut back in distance, and that's, I think, what he wants to do. Now, obviously, when you see a horse win a prep, a Kentucky Derby prep, that's kind of like, okay, we're going to go on this process. We're going to see how far we can go. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think Ron's right on target with cutting him back and being able to kind of employ some of his unnatural speed and being able to do so going shorter.
I think that we probably will see him stay at the one turn, maybe stay in the sprint division. And like they say, what's working, don't try to
Absolutely,
fix it.
yeah.
We also saw, before Speed King's big win here, a really nice maiden horse named Knew What's New for trainer Jimmy DeVito. I do question the buyer speed figure. He got a 101. That's a pretty big number. I don't know if he got quite that big of a number.
I don't know either.
You question that as well as
I do. But sometimes, I mean, we saw Decode run a really fast race and that really strong figure. So we'll see how these horses come back off of these efforts, right? You know, you see that huge figure. Sometimes there's a reference point of will they bounce, will they regress, that sort of thing. But I mean, Knew What's New is one that Publisher was involved in that race. I know you liked this horse a lot. You used that horse to beat Publisher, and one that had just done nothing wrong. And you know, we've obviously Publisher, the maiden for Steve Asmussen, that ran in the Kentucky Derby, has still yet to break his maiden. But I was thoroughly impressed with everything that Knew What's New put forth, and he's one that I think will be really strong and potentially be able to kind of climb in distance as well.
He was a bit of a late-running sprinter when he was sprinting in maiden races, and then he returned in this route race and went to the lead. So he's got some more tactability in that respect going the 2 turns. I'd imagine we'd see him stay at 2 turns, a $300,000 sale purchase that has always been well-regarded. He's run well. It just took him a little while to put things all together. So those are your Friday rising stars. New What's New, I believe that was the 4th race in Speed King from race 9. Both very impressive. Surely they will be staying here in Arkansas. They stay sound. When we get back here for the Classic meet, we will see them back in action, likely for both of them against tougher company. Saturday, our Future Champions Day, a number of 2-year-olds, all 2-year-old races in fact, and a number of 2-year-olds that were impressive winners we're going to talk about. We've got 3 of them. We talked about Counting Stars from the Marcassi barn, a 2-year-old filly about to turn 3. We're going to talk about another one that hasn't won a race until this past week. Search Party, a gun runner filly trained by Team Cassie. Scores by 6 lengths in this replay here. Gets an 81 buyer for the win. Search Party with Christian Torres aboard. Similar to New What's New, although a little bit of a younger horse. Took a few races to put it all together.
But she's beautifully bred, a gun runner filly. Out of that Into Mischief dam, bred and owned by the farmers who also have Lacara. They're a very good horsemen. They know what they're doing. And you're right. I mean, she was kind of one of those that took a little bit of time. She kind of had an awkward trip too back at Churchill. She's always been a horse that I thought wanted the ground and wanted some distance, which she showed today. And when she showed in her effort, and she was just more forward. She was able to really break and be more forwardly placed. And I think that's exactly what she wanted to do, kind of get out of some of those issues that she was facing when she was a little bit further back, kind of sitting more tactically off of things. But I love that they used her speed. Wasn't an overly zealous pace. I mean, they went 48-1 at the half. So she was kind of able to be a little bit more comfortable and then just drew off to that impressive 6-length victory. So sometimes it's not always like a quick break there made it on debut type, and she's one that was really kind of racing into form, had the fitness, and also was able to put everything together mentally, being more forwardly placed. So I really like this horse, and one that will surely, hopefully, be able to put forth some stakes performances as we approach some of these Oaks prep races.
Especially from a breeding standpoint. As you mentioned, she's very well bred. So sometimes you get certain horses that maybe you run them through conditions, you find an allowance. A filly like this, she's well bred. Any sort of in-the-money finish or win is very important for broodmare status.
And I mean, there's a black type race every day here. There's a stake race every day. So if they find a spot that's right for her, I mean, at some points, as far as the way these races are written, sometimes it's not as much of a difference as an allowance spot versus perhaps a black type stake that they could write for those fillies going long. So I think that's something that they'll hopefully be able to consider. We'll see where they place her next.
Foie Gras, a perfect example of one that could have run in an allowance race but get some black type there. A black type win, in fact. We talk about black type, we think about stakes horses. We have a filly who's an Arkansas bred who is a full sibling to a multiple stakes winner, a grade 3 winner in Hall and Ice. Her little sister, She's No Cole, debuted going a mile, I should say. This was her first try at a mile. Debuted at Churchill, and this was her route debut. And she won by 12 lengths here. I mean, she went to the lead, never stopped. She got a 64 buyer. I'm not surprised. I don't know who finished behind her, Megan, but at least she did this the right way.
She did it the right way, and against Arkansas breds. She's an Arky bred, and she's got one of the most prolific Arkansas bred pedigrees in the book as far as being the full sibling to that graded stakes sprinter Hall and Ice. And She's So Cool, one that impressed me physically. She looks like one that is... the sire in Cole front, you would suspect getting a little bit more distance. You look at a horse like Cole Battle. I like her kind of, I mean, she got the mile distance in hand, but I'm not so sold on how long she wants to ultimately go. Obviously, she did it the right way, beating a group of lightly raced Arkansas breds and won by 12, of course. But as far as kind of some of those longer, more extended routes, we shall see. Jury's still out. She's kind of a shorter, compact made horse, maybe a little bit more shorter coupled. We'll see how she continues to progress. But I'm interested to see where they put her. Are they going to put her against open foes? Are they going to keep her potentially getting maybe some black type against Arkansas breds before pivoting to perhaps an open company type race? She's got a world of talent. I spoke with Lindsay Schultz, and she really likes this horse. Has always been one that's been training forwardly, and Lindsay Schultz has been killing it. She's got some really nice 2-year-olds. She spent a lot of work at the 2-year-old sale, procuring her stock and really building it up. And I think that she's going to be one to watch as the meet progresses because she's got some nice unraced 2-year-olds as well.
Yeah, Lindsay has
Or
been
3-year-olds now. 3-year-olds.
soon to be 3-year-olds.
3-year-olds tomorrow.
in
I have to
24
kind
hours.
of wire my brain because it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It's their birthdays tomorrow, but soon to be 3-year-olds. We'll see how she continues to progress, but she's had a fantastic meet, and I do like this horse. We'll see distance-wise how she wants, where she fits.
I agree with you. I think that when you think about even the pedigree of Full Sibling to Holland Ice, and Holland Ice would be lucky to get 7 furlongs. So
she's quick, but you know, as an individual. Individuals can vary. I just don't think that she's going to be a 9 furlong horse, and she very well may surprise me. I think sometimes folks, when they see a 12-length victory, oh wow, well, she won and pulled away and drew away from that group, so maybe she wants more ground. You have to take into consideration the horses she was beating, which were Arkansas bred maidens. So kind of taking that with a grain of salt, and hoping that, in my mind, I think she fits better, maybe 7/8 mile, 6 furlong type.
And going the short stretch of a mile here at Oaklawn.
It's just a different configuration, and it kind of helps maybe horses that it's a shorter run in that first turn, and then it's a shorter stretch run. So it's a little bit different. It's definitely not your typical route configuration. So that likely also kind of aided her, but there was no beating her. I liked the way she did it, and I'm excited to see how she progresses for sure.
She's so cool. Maybe cutting back in distance might not be a bad thing down the road either. And we're going to cut back in distance to talk about our last rising star. A little bit later in the card, we saw a first-time starter from the Mark Casse barn. So we talked about 3 fillies of his that all going into 2026 have major stakes implications for him. French Friction, Christian Torres aboard this one. A $250,000 sale purchase by City of Light earned its 78 buyer for this win right here. 6-length win. Just totally push button.
She was, as Christian had noted to me, a pro. She wasn't a first-time starter underneath Christian, which is so incredibly exciting to see. She's been the workmate with Lacara in the mornings, and I asked Kate, and I said, "Who are you breezing with Lacara?" Because I didn't see her nameplate, and he said, "I'll tell you." And when she ran, he was like, "That was the filly that was with Lacara." And that video, I don't think they had the video of them working in company together, but I was able to see it in person, and she just traveled so beautifully. This is a 2-turn filly. This is a filly that wants the ground. Obviously breaking her debuting at 6 furlongs as horses do. I think she'll have no problem stretching. She's a big, nice sized filly with some scope. She's by City of Light after a really nice AP Indy dam. Beautifully bred there for DJ Stable, and one that DJ Stable has high regard for.
It is time to talk about upcoming stakes this week on Out of the Starting Gate with Matt Dinerman. Let's talk about a number of them. I think 5 of them are on the docket for us, so we got to get down to it. Thursday racing, our birthday bash for all the horses turning 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on. The Oaklawn Sports Overnight is our feature race. Here's the field coming up on the screen here. The 2 main contenders, Lemon Zest, who ran 3rd in the Grade 2 Mother Goose in New York, ships in for Brad Cox and Flavian Pratt, who's got the call. While Take Charge Omaha comes off a 5-length allowance win at Churchill Downs for trainer Mark Sims, one of 10 races on the Thursday program on New Year's Day. Again, we do run on New Year's Day, 10 races. First post will be 1 p.m. The gates open here at Oaklawn at 11. Going to Friday afternoon, our feature race there is the Coach Overnight Stakes, named, of course, after the late, great Dwayne Lucas. This is actually a pretty competitive group of 3-year-olds. Zero Sugar was the runner-up in the Zia Park Derby and makes his second start off a layoff. Amorosa was second in the Silks Overnight Stakes and wheels back quickly for Chris Hartman. First Division, he was a recent allowance winner here against Older, runs against restricted horses here, while Tap Into This has won 3 of his last 4 races and just lost a 3-race winning streak, finishing 3rd to a stakes quality Bob Baffert colt named Tour Player. So those are some of your main contenders on Friday in the Coach Overnight Stakes. Then we get to Saturday. Saturday afternoon, of course, Smarty Jones Day. First post is early, noon. The gates open early here at Oaklawn, 10:45 a.m. on an 11-race program. The penultimate race day of the holiday meeting here at Oaklawn. 3 stakes on the Smarty Jones Stakes Day card. The first of them is race 4 at the Renaissance Stakes. Let's take a look at the field here. Dirty Rich, he was a gate-to-wire winner of the Advent Stakes on opening day. Sprints again, looks to become a 2-time stakes winner at the meet for Peter Miller. And one horse that I'm really interested to see, Obliteration. He won the Grade 3 Sanford at Saratoga and most recently ran 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Megan, quick question. 2-horse race. Can anybody beat these horses, or are one of these 2 winning and we move along?
I think one of these 2 horses win. And the fun thing about it is Obliteration, who I've kind of had a knack for since seeing him debut, obviously, there at Churchill. And then, of course, being familiar with him from his summer, some time spent in Saratoga. I've always liked this horse. He's a tactical threat. He doesn't need the lead, but he has early speed, and he draws well from that outside post. And obviously, Dirty Rich won his stakes race last time out in a speedy fashion, and he will surely be on the front end, I would assume, like he was last time out, breaking from that inside draw. So whether it's from the inside or from the outside, I like Obliteration being able to come off the freshening. It's always a task to see how they're going to take to the Oaklawn Park surface. This is his very first time running here, and while he is a versatile sort that's been on turf, which I think that he's not going to have an issue getting back to dirt, as we've seen his dirt races have been very strong. We'll see how he takes to the surface, but I've always been very fond of Obliteration, and he's one that his tactical ability has just been very impressive to me.
And he draws outside of the speed, so that's going to help
And he
him
is
work
speed.
out a good
He does
trip.
have the speed.
He does have speed.
So
he's going to put himself there as long as he breaks well with Joel Rosario, who's going to be riding for the first time. We move along later in the card to race number 9, the Commodore Overnight. A pretty wide open group here of 11 runners in this race. Navy Seal, he's an Arkansas bred stakes winner. Stakes plays Concrete Glories, the morning line favorites for Saffie Joseph Jr. Echo again got a 99 buyer winning in the slop. Track will be fast. Who you've got your eye on here in a very competitive race?
It's so competitive, and just in terms of the favorites, and the number 3 Echo again, and then the number 5 Concrete Glory. I'm familiar with Echo again, as I said, from some of his races in Saratoga, which he's run very well. He's kind of a bigger strided horse. He's a son of Gunrunner out of a Tappet mare. So the fact that he's really a sprinter, and he's imagined himself as a sprinter, to me, I've always thought was maybe because of his mental ability, maybe not connecting some of those dots going longer. He's kind of strides out, and you can see when he kind of 2-back at Keeneland in that trip, he kind of sat behind horses, and then right there when he was getting close right there behind horses, it's like he just lost it. Nothing overt happened, but he's one that needs to kind of get involved into the race, kind of tactically placed, be able to stride out, and he's very good at being the bridesmaid in his races. So we'll see how he takes to the Oaklawn Park surface. He's 1 for 5 doing so, and he was always kind of a well-met horse all the way dating back to that blowout win at Saratoga. So he's got some talent. There's some quirks about him, though, just as far as the trips and what I've seen from him. But Concrete Glory is very interesting. I think he'll be the controlling speed in this group, and speed kills here at Oaklawn Park in these sprint affairs. So I'm interested to see how Saffie, he's 1 for 1 with his horses here at the meet. So he's well met when he sends them here, and he's one that is also getting to the Oaklawn Park surface for the very first time.
The following race, race 10, the big one, the Smarty Jones Stakes, $250,000 in the purse. Kentucky Derby points are to be given out to top placers in this race. We're going to go through the whole field. Let's take a look at the graphic here, this stakes field. A good field signed on here, full field of 9, good field. I think this is actually an extremely strong group of horses, this being an ungraded stake. We're going to go through this whole field, Megan, so let's get to business here. We start with a 3-1 morning line second choice, Universe, one of 2 runners for Kenny McPeak. Here's the replay of his effort in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes at Churchill Downs. One thing that really impressed me with his gallop out after this race. I mean, he galloped out well past the wire. Looked like he was just getting going.
I don't know how I feel about this horse. I do know. I do know. I do know that I don't know. He's one that he was never catching Further Ado last time out, which it was a solid effort. As you mentioned, you liked the gallop out, and that's fine. He's one that he's very tactical. He's very handy. I thought from a pace perspective, this race is really interesting too. Who's going to go? Who's going to take
Not a lot of
control?
speed.
There is speed. This horse has speed. Is he going to use it to be more forwardly placed from the inside draw? So one that I really appreciated Christopher Elliott being more aggressive with him, being kind of more forwardly placed when he did win on debut there at Saratoga. I thought he looked fantastic that day. He won at a big price, and I think he's got some ability there. He's certainly got the class edge on this group. He's never been off the board in some tough assignments. He was just completely outrun in the Champagne. I thought he ran a very good race in the street sense, where it was pretty up-tempo up there on the front end that day. And he's one that, again, he was involved in a competitive pace where it kind of just everything fell apart around him, and he was kind of one of those that was up front that kind of finished and still had some run left. So I like this horse. I want to see him be a little bit more tactically placed, maybe a little bit more forward, showing some of that speed from the inside, because here at Oaklawn, that's what you want to do. You want to get into position going forward. You don't want to give yourself too much work to do, especially in this kind of group.
We talk about that a lot on the pre-race show with Nancy Holthus. You want to get in good position early here at Oaklawn or any dirt racing. As we know, speed kills in dirt racing here in America. Universe, he's going to get bet with Joel Rosario, one of two runners for Kenny McPeek. Again, that's Universe. A grade 1 place, ran third in the Champagne. The number 2 horse, Baytown Dreamer, he's going to be a long shot here. Broke his maiden on the turf, has been running on turf the last 5 or 6 starts. I think he's going to be a big long shot. Number 3, Boca Beach Club. He ran second as the favorite in the Advent Stakes behind Dirty Rich. And here's the replay of him closing from off the pace here. This horse is really nice looking in the mornings, and his first 2 career races have been very respectable. One on debut at Hawthorne. Megan, the big question with him, I think, is can he stretch out?
Can he stretch out? His pedigree suggests that he should be able to stretch out. He's a son of Omaha Beach, out of a mine shaft dam. In terms of his half-siblings and just his pedigree in general, I think that he should, but it's just such a test. He stretches out 3 furlongs in this race, and I mean, it's just a little bit much of an ask, especially when you're contending with other horses who's been able to get the 2 turns. But he's also another horse in here that's kind of that mid-pack dweller. You could argue that he doesn't have, it's not like he doesn't have early speed, and I don't know how you take this, but he's got that speed. We see him being 46-1 on December the 29th. How do you see that number when you see they go that fast a week before this kind of test?
You know, I don't think it's a problem just because Jimmy DeVito, who trains this horse, he is the type of trainer that really likes to see that.
Yes.
I think that's a positive sign. That means they're doing good, and he must think that they're ready to run well. I do, of course, understand that angle of, you don't want them to leave their race on the track.
Right.
Right.
But I kind of take that in stride as when I see them physically in the paddock. Okay. So what are we dealing with now? Are they really kind of trying to identify signs if that's taken anything out of them? And sometimes you can't. Sometimes it just does.
And I think it all depends on the
sometimes it
horse.
doesn't. Right. It just all depends on the horse. Who knows? Maybe he's won. He's quick. He's sharp. He's been doing well. Maybe they send him to the lead here.
Right. And it'll be interesting if they do
But
send
if they
him to the
wire
lead.
him trying to do that's kind of a difficult thing to do when you're trying to get this distance for the first time.
I have a feeling not. I think they're probably going to want him to have, he seems like the type of horse that wants to have a target to chase.
Yeah.
Boca Beach Club by Omaha Beach. He is the 3 horse with Luis Saez, 4-1. And we go to number 4, Silent Tactic, one of 2 runners for Mark Cass. He was off to just a stellar meet. And Caden Arthur, you mentioned his assistant, want to give him a shout out. He does a great job. We're going to take a look at a recent work that he had here at Oaklawn Park. According to the news and notes compiled by Robert Yates, Caden Arthur noting this horse isn't a morning glory by any means. He just sort of takes it easy in the morning. So you're not going to see anything special from him. Is he good enough to transfer form to the dirt? Ran second in the grade 3 Gray Stakes, but he's run twice at Woodbine over synthetic.
You know, and he does have some grass pedigree, which he was purchased by Justin Cassie for the Oxleys, and he's won that. There is some solid grass pedigree in there. Just looking at his action, he doesn't tend to pick up his knees overly, he's not overly extended. Sometimes I kind of look for how these horses are really traveling in their action and their movement when they're on the synthetic to try to see if perhaps they just like to stay on that synthetic grass sort. But he was an expensive purchase, $500,000 son of Tacitus, who stands for 5,000. So obviously picking him up after breezing 10-1 flat. I think this horse is kind of the joke play, the silent kind of a silent he's sneaky good. I like his races. Last out, he ran well. He was kind of in close quarters. He encountered some traffic and then angled out and couldn't quite catch the winner. But man, was he trying and closing in that race.
Number 5, Rancho Santa Fe, the morning line favorite for Brad Cox. Florent Giroux, the regular pilot, has the call. Here's the replay of his last win, an allowance race in which the second and third place finishers both came back to win. Comes out of a key race here, Megan. But this horse, as you can see on the replay here, very much a grinder. He doesn't have a huge burst.
He doesn't. He's a workmanlike kind of horse who is progressive. I mean, he's undefeated in 2 starts routing. He's by Tappet, of course, and has a route pedigree through and through. So the distance is not going to be a problem for him. As you mentioned, a key race where he beat 2 next out allowance winners. So that was a strong group last time out at Keeneland, and he's just handy. He's one that is workmanlike, but he doesn't put himself too far out of position. Like we kind of see it with horses, some popular horses maybe by Sierra Leone kind of put himself back, and then he was that grinder workman, like kind of like he needed the time and the space to get going per se. And this horse has some tactical ability. He's not going to be too far off of things, and he hasn't done anything wrong. But this group, there's not an overt speed figure edge. It's wide open. We'll see if he can continue to do just enough to get the win here.
Rancho Santa Fe, the morning line favorite again at 5-2. Number 6, Oscar's Hope, one that's a little bit of a wise guy in your mind, comes off a Delta Down Stakes win in the Jean Lafitte, going 7.5 furlongs there at the 2-turn distance.
Yep. The configuration at the Bull Ring or Delta Downs, I really thought was kind of a clever move on Tom Amos's part, because not only does he incrementally get to build a distance from 6 furlongs, 7.5 furlongs, now 8.5 furlongs. He's one that really, I loved the methodical placement of Tom. And while, you might say, oh, that maybe it's just a Louisiana horse, Delta. No, I mean, this horse broke his maiden at Saratoga in very impressive fashion. So he's got some talent. I think that was just really good thinking on Tom's part to get him around 2 turns, because the Delta Bull Ring can allow for that at the 7.5 furlongs, step him up in distance, and also kind of bringing him along in an incremental, gradual way, which I love, because a lot of these horses that have to go from that sprinter route haven't been able to do that. He's one that I think will get the distance, and no shame to the Jean Lafitte, because that's the race that Cole Battle won before he came. He won the Springboard Mile and came and won some graded stakes, of course, the Rebel winner. So don't take that, while it might just seem like another Delta race, it's good for him from a lot of different angles. And he's also one with tactical speed who will be forwardly placed.
5 starts, has never finished worse than second. Very consistent son of Twirling Candy, purchased for $150,000 as a as a yearling. A Strategic Risk, number 7, visually was very impressive in this race here at Gulfstream Park against Florida breds. He is a Florida bred himself. But going 2 turns here, first time ever going 2 turns on dirt, he won for fun, Megan.
He did, 1 of 2 for the Oxleys there, for Mark Casse, of course, with Silent Tactic. He won for fun. He wants all of the ground in the world. He's not a turf horse, as they tried turf with anticipation over the summer. And he was a very brilliant winner, sprinting on debut there using speed. I just loved the dimension he showed last time out, being able to sit off of horses and then just draw off in the way he did, going the same mile and a 16th distance. And he's just one that has been training very forwardly, very well here, taking to the Oaklawn Park surface. I've been able to see his works in person. They like what they're seeing from this horse, and I think he's going to be tough right back here.
Should be sitting off what could be a contentious pace. Number 8, Scarship, adding blinkers, comes off a half-length loss sprinting at the fairgrounds against Louisiana Bred Company, going a route game for the first time. He will be a price with Ramon Vasquez in the iron, shipping in from Louisiana, this horse here. And finally, Sleeping on Freedom, number 9. The second Kenny McPeak entrant in the race, comes off back-to-back wins. In the slop last time in this starter allowance, here's the replay here. This horse was behind horses as the low odds favorite in upper stretch. Tipped outside and then showed a nice burst.
Yeah, back on November the 22nd, he kind of lost some position there where he was shuffled back. You can see in that win 2 back at Keeneland, he was forwardly placed sprinting. So I don't think that he's one that wants to be too far off of it, even though he was shuffled back last time out. And I thought he moved to the rail and then angled out, and I thought was really professional professional in the way he handled himself. But it's a huge test. He's been against auction restricted foes, then of course a starter allowance. So this is a big time test. And I just don't think that he's been beating world beaters by any means. And he does have a stablemate and Universe that is a grade 1 placed foe. So definitely some class waters to contend with, but he gets Brian Hernandez Jr. aboard, which is very nice to see. To me, he's kind of the other Kenny McPeak. But at the same time here at Oaklawn, these horses can just jump up and really surprise you. Maybe you get a line of thinking on a horse like Universe or Rancho Santa Fe that you don't think are beatable. And this group, they're very well beatable.
I think I've talked about this before, Megan, with younger horses, whether it be fillies or mares or younger colts. As they go on, sometimes just out of the blue, they find their stride. It can happen at any point. It can happen after or before any race. So with here, sometimes it's just about finding the horses that are going in the right direction at the right time to win a race. That's the Smarty Jones, 9 runners in there, Megan, going to be a good race. I do want to go back very quickly to what we were talking about, the potential pace.
Right.
My take on this is it looks like there's more speed than there is, because I think there are a lot of horses in here that can go to the lead. I don't know if all of them want to going a route of ground. So I think the pace is going to be slower than we project, but it's still going to be moderate. That's what I think.
You know, when looking at the Timeform US pace projector, I think they had Universe out on the front end.
Yeah.
So that just tells you that it's a jockey's game. It's getting these, I think it's a jockey's race, and it's going to be playing the break and seeing how this race plays out. You know, Joel gets on Universe for the first time, and sometimes Joel can be a little bit more conservative.
Right.
Or Kenny's like, you know what, hey, let's just send him. He's from the inside. We know he wants the ground. Let's see if we can just get out on the front end. So it's going to be kind of the trainers and the jockeys' intentions. But also, at the end of the day, when the jockeys are out there and they read the frame of the race, and maybe they're crawling in the first quarter and they make those moves to try to kind of compensate for that, we shall see. But it's also really interesting when you have horses that are making the jump from the sprints to the routes. And if connections are confident that they're going to get the route, let's say Oscar's Hope, for example, he's been using his speed. He might be sent with an aggressive rider in Ricardo Santana Jr. So I think that's a horse that could be on the front end. I don't think Strategic Risk will be. I think he'll be a tactical tracker. And Scarship, one that he's going to be a big long shot. He gets the blinkers on, which could sharpen him up even more as a pace presence as well.
Going to be a really good race. It's race 10 on the 11 race card, the Smarty Jones Stakes, again with Kentucky Derby points awarded to the top placers there. Finally, on Sunday, we have 11 more races, closing day of our holiday beat. 11 more races there. Gates open early once again at 10:45, noon, early first post for us to end our holiday meet. That's on Sunday afternoon. Our feature race is race 9, the Mockingbird Stakes. Here's the field for that. Stakes winners Wakuda for Steve Asmussen and Woodstock Mike Maker are part of a field of 7 here. 4 newly turned 3-year-old filly sprinters going 6 furlongs. The Mockingbird, the feature race on what is a very, very good card on Sunday afternoon. We've got one more segment to go. Denny's Clocker Pick of the Week. I always give out a clocker pick. I follow all the workout videos, so we're going to give you Pajojo de Oro for Phil D'Amato, Ramon Vasquez with the call. She's number 5 in race 9 on Friday afternoon. Let's take a look at this workout here. She's inside of a 2-year-old filly from the barn, and this filly, she was a good worker last year. They bought her for a lot of money, about $500,000, and she was a clocker pick last year when she broke her maiden. Takes time off, hasn't seen her since that maiden win, but she's back, and as you can see on this gallop out here, she puts away her foe on the gallop out. Her ears are up the entire work. It looks like she's got more in the tank here. This tells me she's doing well still, and she's fit for this race. So that's Pajojo de Oro. She's always been a good worker in the morning, but I think she's a good filly when you want to watch out for in a full field on Friday afternoon. Finally, folks, we're going to talk just really briefly about what's coming up next. We're going to take 3.5 weeks off. Megan, I think you're going to probably get a blanket, warm up during this winter break here, and relax. Or maybe you might be going, are you going back to New York to work a little bit?
I will. I'll be going back to New York to work a little bit the weekend after, of course, Smarty Jones. And then me and Richie McLeary will be teaming up with Lafitte Penkai, and we will be here for Southwest coverage. It's going to be a great weekend of racing to open back up the classic meet. And yeah, the whole A-team, Maggie, Acacia, they come in from time to time, of course, to cover those big weekends. And it'll be nice to have the fam here, the work family.
Very
so
cool.
Very excited to see all of them. And as, of course, as those big weekends get closer, we'll have some more full team coverage.
We're really ecstatic to have your whole team here and you here as well, of course, so they do a great job. So if you want to watch Megan Burgess and the team, just watch them on Fox Sports. They're America's Day at the Races. They show New York. They show, of course, Oaklawn Park, and then in the summertime also Saratoga Live. Megan will be here for our next big week of racing, which is, again, Southwest Week, which kicks off our classic meet. On Friday, January 30th, we come back to racing after this weekend. It begins our classic meet, which for the first week has a 3-day-a-week race schedule. But on January 31st, on Saturday, we have Southwest Day featuring the $1 million Southwest, the $300,000 Martha Washington, and 2 other stakes races. For horse players on January 31st, Southwest Day, the Southwest Showdown. Then the next day, on February 1st, that's a Sunday, the Oaklawn Horse Player Championship. You can go to oaklawn.com to find out more information if you'd like to be a part of that or just want to know more about our on-site contest. After that first week, the majority of our race weeks for the Classic meet, we're going to 4 days a week, just like this week. So we're going to have a lot of work to do, Megan, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Our Classic meet, again, starting on Friday, January 30th. 4 days of racing this week, though. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday and Friday, first post is 1 o'clock and 12:30 first post on Thursday and Friday. I'm at Monmouth. I'm used to saying 1 p.m. first post in the summertime. So again, 12:30 for post time, Thursday and Friday. Saturday and Sunday, we're going to go back to noon, and the gates open early Saturday
11
and
race
Sunday.
cards, so it'll be a very competitive weekend. Get your handicapping done. It's going to be a good one.
A lot of homework. Gates open early here on Saturday and Sunday at 10:45, including, of course, Smarty Jones. Megan, thank you so much.
Of course, I had so much fun.
We had fun with you, and we're hoping that we gave the viewers some good information and maybe a couple winners along the way. So you can listen to Megan and hear her analysis on Fox Sports. You'll hear me atop the grandstand here at Oaklawn. Have a great racing week, and we'll see you back here for the Classic meeting on January 30th.